Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Phyllis, for that absolutely joyous toe-tapping introduction today. And we have I would like you to invite, I would like to get my words straight here. I would like to invite you all to join me in speaking our welcome. This is what we are at Unity of Bloomington. We are a heart-centered community seeking spiritual awakening and transformation by deepening connections with God, self, and others. Now for our welcome song.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Well, as long as you're standing, how about we greet our neighbors?
I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of is love. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of is love. Love, love, love.
Please remain standing and join me in affirming our transition affirmation. Unity of Bloomington is generating an abundant future in expansive alignment with Spirit. We lean deeply into truth principles, live our faith, and trust the process. Our greatest desire is to be abundant and attract those who value spiritual growth, including our next right minister.
Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have this mind in you. Have the attitude, be the attitude. God will see you through. Troubles can be changed. God will rearrange. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude, be the attitude of Christ. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude, be the attitude of Christ. When God's love will provide. See God's will right where you ask Christ. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude, be the attitude of Christ. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude, be the attitude of Christ. We are a part of one great Spirit. Open up your heart and your mind can hear it. You've got to believe it so you can live it. Be the attitude of Christ. Be the blessing of Christ. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude, be the attitude of Christ. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude, be the attitude. Have the attitude, be the attitude of Christ. Have the attitude, be the attitude of Christ. Have the attitude, the attitude of Christ.
Thank you, Unity musical team. Wow, what a treat that was to hear that. So I'm going to introduce the Reverend Karen Williams. Karen's early spiritual inclinations led her to be ordained in the Salvation Army, where she served as a pastor and educator in the Midwest for many years. When her evolving spiritual growth led her in a different direction, she left the Salvation Army, eventually landing in the Valley of the Sun, Phoenix, Arizona. There she spearheaded the Rio Salado project, which brought life to the dry salt riverbed and its surrounding community. In 2015, she retired from the city of Phoenix as a deputy director of Parks and Recreation. Yes, deputy director of Parks and Rec. Her daily spiritual practice includes studying the Bible and A Course in Miracles in an effective, transformative way, strengthening her connection to the divinity within. Karen and her spouse, yours truly, now reside in Ellettsville, where we enjoy spending as much time as possible in nature, both here and abroad. And I, for one, am heartily looking forward to hearing Reverend Karen's timely, interesting, and perhaps disturbing talk about the paradox of the historical Jesus in today's Christian nationalist movement. I think maybe I'm not alone in having the experience of being in being in a fundamental church and really not feeling comfortable, not feeling like you belong there, which is the exact opposite of here at Unity at Bloomington. So, Reverend Karen, take it away.
Well, good morning. You know, you never exactly know what's going to be said. So, but thank you so much for being here this morning. And what a great song. I just so appreciate Phyllis and all the music team and those in the back as well that make all of this work. But the most important is that you show up. You know, I want to talk about religious drama that's happening and the religious trauma that's happening today. That in fact, there are more people leaving their traditional childhood churches or faiths than ever before. It started in a decline about 25 years ago. But the Southern Baptists, which are often part of the far-right Southern Baptists, in 2022, 500,000 members of the church left the Southern Baptists. And do you know, at their conference, and by the way, if I do say anything that's triggering or you relate to your own religious training or have had your own religious trauma, I just want you to know, and Phyllis reminded me, that the spiritual leadership here is very willing and wants to embrace and help you through that experience. It's a wonderful time that, and I'll get to a little bit of, that there is a lot of support for people who have, in fact, left their childhood religions that has never been seen before. So that's the good thing. Now back to the Southern Baptists. That at their conference a few months ago, they, in fact, their largest church, okay, I just told you their bleeding membership, their largest church, they kicked it out of their conference because it was led by a female pastor. But what's happening today is that there are social media platforms and support, like I said, for whether you're fundamental Christian, whether you're Roman Catholic, whether you're Mormon, or you're Muslim, or your Jewish faith, and all the others. But those you can easily get online and just do deconstruct, and then whatever it is, and you will find a platform to help you at your religious trauma that's going on, because all of a sudden there's some realization that the very, perhaps even childhood faith that you had in church you attended, that all of a sudden there's a realization, even if they don't put it in words, it's like, somehow this is hurting my spiritual journey. Is that not a realization? How is my faith actually harming my spiritual journey? Now, when I, myself, many moons ago, I was top of my class. And so I felt like, as the high school valedictorian, that I should go on to college. Nobody in my family had ever gone to college, but I felt like I was supposed to. So I did. I went to George Williams College, private college in Downers Grove, Illinois. No longer exists. However, after a year there, I went into the Salvation Army College for Officers Training. And I was ordained right before my 20th birthday. And I left right after almost my 30th birthday. But that's a while to be an active ordained minister. But what I haven't told you in this group is that my great-great-grandfather, now I'm going back to 1865, okay? He actually went to a flat in London, England, and there were a pair of boots outside, and he would shine those boots every day. And the man that lived in that flat, his name was William Booth. William Booth was a Methodist minister, and in London, he saw how the church was not welcoming of street people, the homeless, the drunkard, the prostitute. So he founded his own church. He called it the Salvation Army, and it became a Christian church along with a social agency to help. And it was a quasi-military setup. So rather than the army, it was the Salvation Army. The parishioners were soldiers. He himself became the first general of the Salvation Army. Well, that great-great-grandfather went on to be an officer in the Salvation Army. And then my grandparents, Albert and Nellie Legg, who immigrated from England to Detroit, Michigan, retired as Salvation Army senior majors. And they were the most loving, kind people you could ever meet in your life. So when I went into the Salvation Army, the only one in my family to become an officer and minister, there was all this heritage. So when I left, I knew I was pulling the rug out from under myself, because that was the only thing I knew. I grew up in it. But I also pulled the rug out from under my parents. That heritage, that family and friends. It's the only family and friend. That's why so many go to church, to be honest. I mean, it's also very much a love for God. I'm not in any way dissing anyone who shows up if it's a message of love. Anywhere you get it. Anywhere you get it. But I am saying it's very difficult in that environment. You don't want to leave the community, even if you have doubts about what is being said. So my own personal journey, because there wasn't any real help at that point, because you see, believe it or not, fundamental Christianity is not very big on psychology. Where's John? Okay, right? I mean, it's not like they say, oh, you got a problem, let's talk about it, and let's really kind of figure out what's going, and let's get you on a plan for a healthier life. They're like, we'll pray about it. You got a problem, so we'll judge you and have opinions until you can solve it with God, but go quietly and suffer. I mean, that's what a lot of it is. I'm not saying everyone, we're in a different time. But for me, that's very much what it was. But I realized, and it took a while to come up and figure out in my own deconstruction what was going on. Well, I realized two things. The message of the church was very much, one, you're not okay. Oh, Chuck Thompson, didn't he say? How did you feel the first time somebody told you you're a total sinner? Right? Remember that? It was like, whoa. I got to step back from that. Well, you're smart. You did it right away. Most people sit through it. And what really is being said is you're not okay. And in some ways, what's being said is that, and the only way you can be okay is you have to have kind of this outside force, they call it Jesus Christ, to come in and you accept him in your heart, you repent of your sins, and then you've said a few magic words and now you're okay. And some churches say once saved, always saved. So it doesn't matter what you do after that. But the second thing that was said to me, as I processed my own deconstruction, was you're not only not okay, you're not safe. You really are not safe. Because for me, it was, God was really like Santa Claus. And it wasn't the Santa Claus of a lot of the mega churches today, which is the gospel of prosperity, which is if you believe enough in God, then you will receive all these blessings. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Well, I am. But I don't have, that's another talk, okay? That's another talk. But it's basically what one of the key leaders right now in the evangel movement, Ralph Reed, or Franklin Graham, the son of Billy Graham, and he came out and he said, if we could only be a God nation, and then that's the only way that God would give his blessing. That's a prosperity gospel. Go to God, and then this is what you get. That's the nice Santa Claus. The other Santa Claus is he keeps a list of who's naughty and nice. And your naughtiness, because you've already been told you're not okay, means that at any time you could get punished. And that's where the construct of hell, damnation, comes in. So if you're not safe, and if you're not okay and you're not safe, you're basically in a war between, used to be God and Satan. And then the movement came along in the 70s to decide, do you know, I think abortion should be the enemy. And there was a movement to move people into being opposed. Send $25 from your Social Security check, and guess what? We're going to get abortion overruled. And what many of the evangelical leaders figured out, people like Jerry Falwell, who was in fact a segregationist, jumped on the abortion bandwagon because you could end up being very rich. Jerry Falwell, Jimmy Swaggart, and then you had the TV evangelists, Faye and Jimmy Baker. Do any of you remember any of these people? Oral Roberts with his university. Well, guess what? They all became very, very wealthy. So when Ralph Reed and Franklin Graham came before the 2016 election and said, here's a list of Supreme Court people that are conservative Roman Catholics. We'll help you get elected if you appoint them. Well, we know what happened there, don't we? But what happens when then, okay, now abortion isn't the enemy. The transgenders. Because the transgenders, you can figure it out. They went from he and she to they. They have lots of demons in them. And they'll find a verse to support it. And the hatred is coming out. And then you get, what's next? Read the Republican Trump, it's not really Trump, but it's 47th. Whoever the 47th president is, from the right, we're going after gay rights, and we're going to purge for purity. Remember, I started with the Southern Baptist female pastor. They're purging for purity. And the difficulty in this, of course, is who's deciding what's pure or not? So there will not be a stop to it. And it's a very scary road to go down. And especially when now that movement of Ralph Reed and Franklin Graham, very different than his father, by the way, but what's happened now is that it's no longer even in their control. It's now a political strategy, and it's an ideology. And it basically says that we're a Christian nation, and we believe the Christian values succeed everything and should be in everything. So we're going to change the curriculum in Florida, maybe even Texas next. We're going to stand on our founders, and that's what they'll say. Well, guess what I have in my hand right here? It's a Thomas Jefferson Bible. How many of you knew that Thomas Jefferson had written his own Bible? Yes. And it's in Greek, Latin, French, and English. And I just want to, because they'll say that our foundation is based on being a Christian. I just want to read to you, and Thomas Jefferson, he was one of the main three in the Declaration of Independence. And this is what he wrote as an introduction. They are the result, he explains his beliefs to a guy named Rush. He says, they are the result of a life of inquiry and reflection, and very different from that anti-Christian system imputed to me by those who know nothing of my opinions. To the corruptions of Christianity, I am indeed opposed, but not to the genuine precepts of Jesus himself. I am a Christian in the only sense in which he wished only one to be sincerely attached to his doctrines, in preference to all others, ascribing to himself every human excellence and believing he never claimed any other, denying the divinity of Jesus. Jefferson then credited him with bringing him, last sentence here, the highest moral wisdom to the world. So Thomas Jefferson writes his Bible. He clips out information in the scriptures because he was smart enough to know how the Bible was actually put together and started at the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD. And there are some books that are in the Catholic Bible that aren't in the Protestant Bible. So what he basically said is just take the historic Jesus and on his principles alone, don't worry about that divinity thing. And let's not look at those supernatural things that he did, like miracles. Actually, I believe in both of those, by the way, just so you know, I do. But what he was saying here, in that book of Revelations, oh my gosh. He says it's a manic who actually just kind of had this dream and it's like crazy. He said, you never look at that craziness. And I point that out because the very people who went into that Capitol building in the insurrection, they prayed. Did you know that? The only way, and it's really difficult to find out what is the truth today, is you have to look at who's under oath to tell the truth. Thank God we still have a system of law that swears people in, and under oath, you cannot lie. You can tell the truth under oath, and then you can walk outside and you can talk to anybody and say the exact opposite of what you just said in court. But in Congress, if you're sworn in, you only have to do it if you're sworn in, under oath, to tell the truth. And so from that insurrection report that came out from witnesses on that day in the Senate, this was the prayer of those. Thank God for allowing the USA to be reborn and allow them to get rid of communists, globalists, and traitors within our government. We love you and we thank you. In Christ's holy name we pray, amen. It makes me almost so sad because they will be the ones that will tell you we have a Christian nation. We do not have a Christian nation. We have a nation built on the Declaration of Independence that is, we the people. And I'm telling you, it's the most historic precept that Jefferson got. We the people, not we the queen, not we the king, not we the God, whatever God it is, to whoever, but we the people. And it took a while in this American experiment to get to the point of saying to people that that also means all men are created equal. It also means all men of whatever color and all women are created equal. That's what our documents are. It was from the period of enlightenment. And the very guy that they think is a Christian founder of this nation, he was the one that penned in a letter the wall of separation between church and state. And where did he get that from? I don't know. But I kind of think it might be because he actually knew this historic Jesus. And this is what I want to end saying, is he knew the historic Jesus. And he said, there's a wall of separation of church and state, because he read, give to Caesar what's Caesar, give to God what's God. And you'll hear all kinds of interpretations of what that means. Some will say, well, that means you can pay taxes. Others say, well, no, it doesn't mean you have to pay taxes. It doesn't matter. But I think he meant, as soon as you mix those two, you're on a slippery slope. And as soon as you start to purge for purity, how are you going to define the globalist? What's that mean? It means me. Because guess what? I care about other people in other countries being fed, having a safe place to live. I care about those things. Jesus talked about you feed the poor, you clothe or you feed the hungry, you clothe those that are in need. We've all heard that. And the greatest thing of all is you love God, right? He starts to talk to people. He says, blessed the peacemaker, blessed the humble. And then he ends up just saying, you know what? Just love God and love each other, will you? If you just do that, that will be the greatest commandment. That's what he was coming from. He knew God in such an intimate way, and I think of him as an elder brother in my life. He's the one as the example in my life to think about what would Jesus do in a true sense? What would he say? Where would he go? And I know one, and he's first go to his father. He called God Abba, meaning daddy. That's what that means. He was so intimate in that. And yet he also was equally generous in teaching women and men, whoever came to him. He didn't seek out when he called people out for spiritual hypocrisy, because he did. It was usually the spiritual leaders of that day. It was the Pharisees that were very trained in law. And the thing about that I've learned, 2 Jews, 3 opinions. I mean, a rabbi taught me that. And it's true. So the Pharisees, a lot of that bantering that you get with them, I think was just the bantering you would get, being from that tradition. I think people who went into this Capitol and the insurrection would be shocked to know that Jesus' skin was actually olive brown. From Egypt, Judea. And if you ask them who wrote the Bible, they'll tell you Jesus wrote the Bible. You know, the first book was written at least 40 years after the life of Jesus. The Synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, the same gospel, just kind of put together, telling the same story from 3 different perspectives. And then you got the very mystical book of John. It's one of our favorites here, isn't it? That metaphysical, mystic, really good stuff. And the book of Revelations, very good stuff. Out there, but very good stuff. But these folks really believe they're on a war. And they're doing good. And what they're doing is they're purging and fighting. Because whoever their leadership is deciding is the next enemy. And it's a scary road to go down. But if they listen to Jesus and actually got the precepts, the teachings of Jesus, they would discover he loved God and he loved everyone that came to him. And as they came to him, he would stop and give them his full attention. He didn't see them, he saw beyond them to just see the light. That's the light in you and I. That's the light that we know. Guess what? We start with, I'm okay and I am safe. I'm okay and I am safe. I am as God created me. I will to be the Christ on earth, to extend that love. And so when he gave parables like the parable of the Good Samaritan, the Samaritans were the people that no one liked. They were the worst of the worst. And yet it was when a man, a Jewish man, was bleeding in the road, the Levite, the priest, the holy ones stepped aside from that man because they didn't, either felt they were too arrogant, but many of them, they just had a law thinking that the man was unclean because he was bleeding and didn't help him. Jesus is the one that's telling people, who helps? The Samaritan. Puts this man on a beast, takes him to an inn, pays forward his care. I mean, if you heard a story like that from Jesus coming to hear him, you would never forget it. Never forget it. It was so powerful. And when he talked about there's a mustard seed, and that mustard seed's going to grow. And most of the interpretation from the fundamental Christians is that Christianity is going to become it's a global war and a global victory. That's the globalist part. And that's not it. It's just not it. What it is he was talking about your faith. Right now, you may not feel like you got a lot of faith, but guess what? Someday, you'll be able to do the insurmountable thing and move a mountain with that faith. That's why every time he did heal people, he would stop and he would look at them and he would say, do you know that it was your faith that healed you? Because you started to believe you're okay. You're okay. And you are safe. So grow that faith as much as a mustard seed. Because nobody would plant a mustard seed. It grew everywhere. Nobody would put that in their garden. It would only be the mustard seed that was an example that you would never forget, that my faith, wherever it is right now, I just keep taking steps in my spiritual journey. And someday, I may be able to move a mountain. Isn't that an amazing thought and concept? I hope you just feel that power of the historic Jesus, because that's what we have. We have that in our life, and we can take that. And you know, I can't help but to say this, because what would Jesus say if I went up to Jesus and I said, hey, Jesus, what about this Black Lives Matters thing? Don't all lives matter? What would he say to me? I wish we could have a discussion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I think what he'd say to me is, okay, Karen, why have you stopped learning? Matter of fact, why don't you just start learning from the year you were born, 1958. That means I'm 65, so you don't have to do the math. 1958, with the Supreme Court case Aaron and Cooper, and then read about what happened in Little Rock, Arkansas. They were just younger than your parents when you were born. Why have you stopped learning? That's the way he would be. And then I think, I'd say, well, what do I do forward right now based on the fracturing of our community right now? And he would say, don't judge. Just love the hell out of everybody you can. But do what you can to change, to stand on the principles that you believe in. And I think he'd say, vote. But I'm going to end with this, because it's my realization, and it's kind of hard for me in some ways. Because I think when he'd say vote, he'd be saying to me, as an American, with our democracy, and where we are right now today, I think what he would say to me is the serenity prayer. which is change what you can, accept what you can't, which just means just now. Now just accept what you can't. Have the wisdom to know the difference. And when you can change it, then change it. But then he would add to me and say to me, and the other thing is, Karen, no matter the outcome, don't suffer in disappointment and don't suffer in elation. Whoa. Because guess what? Those birds out there, they're not worried about the food they're going to have tomorrow. The trees, they're communicating with each other. The flowers, they're growing. They're not worried about will the sun be there tomorrow? Will they have water? No? So why worry? Be at peace. Be still. Have faith. And you will move mountains someday. Please take a couple of just good breaths as we move into meditation.
Thank you for that lovely song. So let's begin our meditation by getting comfortable in our chairs, allowing our chairs to support our full weight. And for those of you online, allowing whatever you're in to support your whole weight. Let's take a few deep cleansing breaths. In through the nose and out through the mouth with a sigh. Roll your shoulders a little bit. Another deep cleansing breath. Relax, stretch. Release any tension in your body. Feel yourself moving deeper with each breath into a state of total relaxation. Feel your breath relaxing you, bringing you peace. We're going to connect with an aspect of God, and for this meditation, that aspect is love, divine love. So let's breathe in on the in-breath, breathe in divine love in through your crown, into your heart center, and on the exhale into the rest of your body. divine love in, divine love all through your body. Divine love in, divine love filling your body. Breathe in divine love to every area of your body, every organ, every gland, every bone, every muscle, every sinew, every system. Feel that divine love flowing, enveloping your whole body. And if there's any area of your body that could use a little extra divine love, focus that divine love there as well. Feel yourself totally bathed in divine love, totally safe, totally comforted, totally secure. And in this lovely divine love space, I'm going to read a prayer by Michael Murdad. And as I read it, intend it for yourselves as well. My Father, Mother God, whose presence is heaven and is within all life, sacred and holy is your name, the divine within me. Your kingdom and will are manifested here and now through each righteous action I take, just as it is in heaven. Bring to me this and every day all that you will to draw me closer to my remembrance of the divine Christ within me, and teach me to be as forgiving as you. I joyfully choose your holy voice as my guide through moments of both inspiration and challenge, thus receiving all the gifts you intend for me. I gratefully affirm that my will is no longer apart from your divine will, but instead your will is my will. Therefore, I choose to rise above my ego so that you can deliver me from all illusionary forces that seem to manipulate me in body, mind, or soul. I vow to be more of God's kingdom and to extend this kingdom each day. Amen. And let's let that sink in, and let's move into a moment of silence. I vow to be more of God's kingdom and to extend this kingdom each day. Let's slowly come back. Stretch that in. Feel that becoming part of your very being. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And remember that this This feeling, this is always available to you. You need only connect with it. Thank you. Namaste. Musical team for that wonderful extension of the meditation. That in itself could have been the meditation. That was so lovely. And let's please join me in our abundance affirmation. And could the greeters please come up? I am an abundant being in an abundant universe. I am not dependent on people or situations for my good. God is the source of my supply. I always have something to give, and I consistently give it. I expect the best, I give my best, and I now attract the best in every experience. Please be as generous as you can, and please feel free to bless the blessings as the bag comes around.
Be
And now it's time for our offering blessing. Please join me in saying, Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. We have a couple of announcements. Yay! Karen and I are conducting a workshop here at 12 on our favorite thing to talk about, A Course in Miracles. And today we're going to continue the discussion of everything you always wanted to know about A Course in Miracles, but didn't want to have to read the whole course, which is quite thick, to find out. Part 2. So please join us if you can. There is a greeters gathering on October 15th, immediately following the service. And bring your ideas. And there is the board wants to hear from you on Wednesday, October 18th at 5:30 here in the chapel. Everyone is welcome. Our current and upcoming lineup of speakers, we have Kimberly Hughes, Kathy Haggerty, and a fabulous all-music Sunday on the 29th. And let's say together our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And let's make a circle and sing our closing song.